There's always scams out there, so many to keep track of, and the Better Business Bureau is doing a great job of that. I have as my guest today on Weekend Connection Juliana O'Rourke from the Better Business Bureau. So, what do you say we get connected? Good afternoon, my friend. I welcome you to Weekend Connection here on the Bible Broadcasting Network. Ed Phillips with you, and I have as my guest today Juliana O'Rourke. She is with the Better Business Bureau, and over the past few years, I've done interviews every now and then with the Better Business Bureaus because there are always scams and always bad guys out there doing bad stuff, and that continues. And it seems like they always stay a couple, 3 steps ahead of us. But Julianne is joining me, and I welcome you to Weekend Connection.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
I appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule to come on to the program. How long have you been with the Better Business Bureau, Juliana?
I have been with the Better Business Bureau for just over about 5.5 years now.
And I'll bet you keep pretty busy, don't you?
We do stay very busy, especially when it comes to scams and consumers reporting those to us all across the country. Yeah, lots going on in the world of scams.
And you wear many hats at the Better Business Bureau, right?
I do. So I head up our marketing and communications along with our business development efforts as well. So I kind of have my hands in lots of different things.
I'll bet you do. Well, let's get right to it. And it is tax season. And as always, every year there are tax scams. And so I thought we could talk about some of those for a few minutes. What are some of the scams that are coming to the surface or are already on the surface right now?
Yeah, so most of the time when it comes to tax scams, no matter what the scam looks like, they're essentially after your personal information, your social security number, credit card information, really anything they can get from you in regards to almost identity theft. So oftentimes, there's going to be these what we would refer to as black market tax preparers. They're setting up shop right around tax time. So of course, right now, and even earlier in the year, and there are short-term rentals or short-term locations. These black market preparers tend to promise, large refunds as well as getting them quickly. But of course, we all know that oftentimes when things are too good to be true, it's because they are. So we really watch out for these, bad actors that just sort of set up shop and are making big promises to people that, of course, they don't deliver on. And then, unfortunately, these people get their information stolen from them, and they have a long road ahead.
Now, these are bricks and mortar places as well as online?
Yeah, so sometimes they are actually brick and mortar in addition to online. It just depends how long it takes for them to sort of be found out or discovered. And that's, oftentimes how long they're in that rental. As soon as somebody recognizes that they're a scam, they're gone.
Mm-hmm. And I think we're at a good point to remind people that as it regards taxes and the IRS, that the IRS will only contact you via regular mail. Is that correct?
Yes. So they will never call you. They will never direct message you on social media platforms. The only time they will contact you is through direct mail.
Right. So whenever you see that little logo and it says Internal Revenue Service, that is not junk mail.
If you get something in the mail, you definitely probably want to take a look at it.
Absolutely. Well, are there any other specific tax scams that you can think of, Juliana?
Yeah, so one other thing that we want people to really be aware of is what we are referring to as being ghosted by your tax preparer. So again, it could be someone that you think is real or just someone that has prepared your taxes for you, but then they won't sign your taxes prior to submitting them. So whenever someone prepares taxes, it's their responsibility to sign those taxes because they are the ones preparing them. If you have someone prepare your taxes for you and they refuse to sign off on those documents, that's a problem. Because if something's filed incorrectly, it's going to come back to the person whose name is, the taxes are being filed in, and who signed it and submitted it. So if you had somebody prepare them for you, but they didn't sign it, then it's going to come back to you. Anything that the IRS sees, as far as if they're auditing, like I said, amounts being incorrect or any of that kind of information.
Yes, and now ultimately it's up to the person filing the tax return that is ultimately responsible. But the normal thing, as you're saying, is for that tax preparer to sign as well. And normally they have a special number, a special ID number, don't they?
They do. They have what's called a preparer tax identification number. And in 2006, the IRS essentially started to require all tax preparers to have that number. However, that system only works if the tax preparers actually sign the returns they file.
Well, what other scams are out there right now that you all at the Better Business Bureau are having to deal with?
Yeah, so of course there's tons. I could, talk all day about them. But another area of scams that we're seeing pretty prevalent, and I would say that most consumers are probably becoming aware of this as well, are deep fake scams. And these are scams brought on by AI technology, of course. Are you familiar with deep fake scams?
I have heard of them. I'm not real familiar with them, so why don't you elaborate?
Yeah, so essentially it's AI technology and it's creating what seems like a real video or potentially an audio clip that mimics a person's face, voice, or both. So this has been happening to celebrities where they may be, it seems as if it's a real video where they're promoting a specific product, but many of these celebrities have come out and said it is in fact not them promoting the product, and these are deep fakes that other people have created to make it look like they're promoting these products.
AI is moving so quickly, isn't it? It's very, very difficult to keep up.
It is moving faster than most people can keep up with or most people can even understand.
Well, why don't you elaborate on some other scams that are taking place?
Yeah, so we do have, as always, robocall scams. We know everybody tries to do their best to eliminate scam callers and robocalls. But with it being political season, they kind of rev back up again. So oftentimes, we get reports that scammers are using phony political fundraising calls to trick Americans into donating, if you will, to their favorite candidate. But oftentimes, again, these aren't real. The money, if you were to fall for the scam and donate, you are going to be stuck without your funds, and they actually did not go to the person you intended them to go to.
Wow. And are there any new email scams that you're dealing with?
So we are always dealing with phishing scams against different companies. We've even dealt with phishing scams where people are trying to impersonate the Better Business Bureau. When it comes to email phishing scams, we have quite a few different recommendations as far as, make sure you understand who the email is coming from. If you're not familiar with the sender, do some research. Oftentimes, for example, the Better Business Bureau, we might have my email address, Juliana O'Rourke at betterbusinessbureau.com. So you really want to investigate the sender's information. You also want to hover over any links in those emails so that you can sort of pre-see what that link looks like before actually clicking on it. If you also, don't really notice these emails coming in very often, be even more skeptical because they're coming out of the blue. Why would someone send you this out of nowhere? And email phishing scams come from all different companies, all different places. Maybe your subscription is up somewhere and they want to offer you something for free. Just be very cautious before you click on links or respond to any kind of email. Take some time to digest that information and absorb it.
And I think the good watchword is when in doubt, don't when it comes to these emails, as well as attachments, because they can look so authentic, so real. But if you've got a real check in your spirit, the best thing to do is not deal with it.
Exactly. Yes. And you're right. They do come with downloads and attachments sometimes. And that often leads to big problems with malware on your computer. So, like you said, avoid it at all costs.
Well, Juliana, for our BBN listeners, as I said earlier, we've had the Better Business Bureau on Weekend Connection from time to time. If you could just go over for a few minutes what the Better Business Bureau does and how our listeners can avail themselves to the services of the Better Business Bureau.
Absolutely. The Better Business Bureau is here to be the leader in marketplace trust. So we really try to be that gap between consumers and businesses and connecting, trustworthy businesses with consumers that need them. So consumers can go to bbb.org and look up accredited businesses. So if anyone is looking to, get a new roof done, possibly have car work done, any type of home improvement project, please go visit our website, bbb.org, and make sure the companies you are looking at or interested in are accredited. They've gone through a accreditation process to make sure they are dependable, trustworthy, creditable. So definitely take advantage of our website and looking up those businesses. You can also get quotes from those businesses on our website as well. So definitely take advantage of those two things. If you've had experiences working with businesses in the past and you want to provide a review, you can certainly do that. Our review platform is different than others. We verify that the consumer leaving a review for the business was actually a customer or had some form of marketplace interaction. If a consumer has maybe had a very poor experience with the business, they can file a complaint on our website as well. We have lots of articles about scams, warning consumers. As soon as we get reports in our BBB scam tracker tool, we try to publicize that and put articles on our website with as much information as possible to inform consumers and the general public what we're seeing and what's going on. So there are lots of great programs and services that consumers and business owners can take advantage of on our website.
So maybe a good thing to do, I was just thinking about this as you were talking, that, you have these neighborhood apps out there, and
Mm-hmm.
I have one on my phone, and people chime in saying, oh, this person's good and this person's a scammer and this person, don't. But especially for those who are recommended on these neighborhood apps, maybe a good final check would be to go through the Better Business Bureau and do one final review before going with a particular person or not.
Yes, we always recommend vetting any company you're going to work with, definitely on our website, especially if they come highly recommended, like you mentioned on these other apps. The other apps are constantly popping up here and there. People chime in, like you mentioned, hey, I'm looking for a roofer. And before you know it, you have 30 comments mentioning different people or avoiding different people. So, yes, in part of your process of due diligence before choosing and selecting a company, definitely check them out on bbb.org.
Well, Juliana, our time is just about gone, but are there any final thoughts you'd like to add before we wrap things up?
Oh gosh. Like I said, we put everything in regards to scams on our website. So if anyone is ever wondering about anything, they can certainly search there. We also recommend if anybody does get scammed, you can submit that on our website at BBB Scam Tracker. That helps us to inform others of the scams we're seeing in our local communities, if it's a larger nationwide scale, but it helps us to be able to provide information back to the public.
So is that bbbscamtracker.com or .org?
It's bbb.org/scam tracker.
Got it. bbb.org/scam tracker. And the general address is bbb.org.
Yes, and you can actually locate the scam tracker directly from our homepage as well.
Great. Well, Juliana, thank you so much for joining us on Weekend Connection. And perhaps we'll be getting together again in several months to talk about more scams and other things that you all deal with.
That would be great. We're always happy to chat and try to make everybody as aware as possible of what's going on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My guest today on Weekend Connection was Juliana O'Rourke from the Better Business Bureau. And again, that web address is bbb.org. bbb.org. Weekend Connection is a public affairs program of the Bible Broadcasting Network.
Thank you for listening to this feature, a production of BBN, the Bible Broadcasting Network. BBN provides 24-hour Christian programming, great Christian music, and Bible teaching. Listen to BBN by clicking the link in the description.